These are 10 great movies, each of which nevertheless seemed like, frankly, terrible ideas at a superficial conceptual level, but each ended up proving the many doubters riotously wrong, turning in a terrifically entertaining final movie that soared far above and beyond what anyone could have expected. Number 10. A movie based on Lego. The Lego Movie. The moment that a movie based on Lego was announced, many rolled their eyes and immediately dismissed it as a project doomed to be nothing more than a soulless 90-minute commercial for the plastic toy bricks, despite appearing to epitomize Hollywood's creative bankruptcy. On paper, the Lego Movie had a secret weapon in hand. Filmmakers Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. Lord and Miller took an inherently cynical concept and produced something startlingly creative, hilarious and beautifully animated, thoroughly self-aware of its own torrid potential, while gamely poking fun at the state of modern blockbusters. The Lego Movie was teeming with invention. In every single scene, the biggest surprise, though, was the risky live-action divergence in the third act, which only deepened the movie's very earnest, genuine love for toys and play to that end. Lord and Miller were able to have their cake and eat it, too, producing a subversive, tongue-in-cheek animated adventure film that still worked. As a giddy endorsement for its titular product, everybody won basically. Number 9. A film set almost entirely inside a phone booth. Phone booth movies, where characters are trapped in a single location for basically the entire runtime, are always at risk. But at least something like Ryan Reynolds' Buried could sell itself on the inherent anxiety of being buried alive. Joe Schumacher's phone booth, however, had the decidedly more pedestrian setting of a New York City phone booth, where protagonist Drew Shepard was held hostage by a sniper with a grudge. You can practically picture a studio executive shaking their head the moment somebody pitched this to them, because while a single location is an easy way to keep a movie's budget down, that location generally needs to be cinematically compelling, and a phone booth not so much. Thankfully, Phone Booth had a hell of a lot going for it. Schumacher's dynamic direction, which regularly deploys 24-style split screens, a tight witty script, and a superb central performance from Colin Farrell, who dominates the screen in basically every single shot, and 20 years on it remains one of the all-time best single-location thrillers, proving how smart filmmaking and strong acting can make the most of an unassuming setting. Number 8. A Jumanji sequel without Robin Williams. Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. It cannot be overstated just how much of a fuss Jumanji fans kicked up when a sequel was announced, less than a year after Robin Williams' tragic death, beyond some deeming it too soon to mount a Jumanji sequel following Williams' passing. There was the obvious opposition to a new film, which couldn't feature him at all, and by the time it was confirmed that the new Jumanji would switch out the board game for a video game, most had readily dismissed it as a soulless, soft reboot nobody was asking for. But what a pleasant surprise Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle turned out to be, largely due to its inspired central gimmick, the players being embodied by larger-than-life avatars within the game, crossed with a hilarious body swap element. The chemistry between the in-game cast was terrific. Jack Black genuinely gave one of the finest performances of his career. It was relentlessly fun and action-packed, and even circled back to the original Jumanji in a way that sincerely honored it, and beyond that, despite releasing mere days after Star Wars: The Last Jedi, it still grossed almost $1 billion globally. I mean, who could have seen any of that coming? Number 7. Keanu Reeves avenges his murdered dog, John Wick. Keanu Reeves' career may be back on top right now, but around the time of the first John Wick's release, he'd been in a serious slump for the better part of a decade. Following the end of the original Matrix trilogy, the critical and/or commercial duds were numerous. The Day the Earth Stood Still, Henry's Crime, and most infamously, the calamitous box office bomb 47 Ronin in 2013. And so when Reeves was announced to be starring in a new action thriller, as an assassin seeking to avenge his murdered puppy, of course the knee-jerk response was to laugh. Many predicted it might score 0% on Rotten Tomatoes before release. That's how lacking in momentum Reeves' career was. At the time, this had glorified video-on-demand movie that somehow secured a theatrical release. Vibes all over it, but oh, how wrong we all were. John Wick ultimately released so strong reviews and turned a hefty profit at the box office, largely due to its impressively nuanced world building, darkly humorous script, killer ensemble cast, and sharply staged stylish action. In turn, John Wick revitalized Reeves' career, ensuring he's appeared in countless quality projects since, including 3 increasingly impressive John Wick sequels. That's definitely a turnaround. Number 6, the Facebook biopic, The Social Network. So many film lovers groaned loudly when Fox announced development of a film about the creation of Facebook, because who honestly would be interested in watching a movie about something so mundane? Yet betting against David Fincher is a fool's errand at this point, because paired with a screenplay from a never better Aaron Sorkin and a superb ensemble cast, The Social Network wasn't just a good or even great movie. It's one of the best of the last 20 years. Fincher's film is so much more than the Facebook movie. It's a fascinating examination of entrepreneurship in the internet era, a gripping courtroom drama that questions the nature of IP ownership, and a razor-sharp character study of Facebook's controversial figurehead Mark Zuckerberg, brilliantly played by Jesse Eisenberg. Fincher and Sorkin do about as much with this concept as any filmmakers possibly could, transforming a potentially dry tale of empire building into a towering drama about one of the most pivotal creations of the 21st century that it lost both Best Picture and Best Director Oscars to The King's Speech. A fine film mind is a decision that's aged like milk, left out in the sun all day long. Number 5. A talking raccoon and tree monster become superheroes. Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy marked a concerted effort by Marvel Studios to expand the storytelling ambition of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, venturing beyond the more basic origin stories for its focal superheroes and delving into weirder, riskier territory. And let's be honest, on paper, it's easy to appreciate just how much of a gamble James Gunn movie was being adapted from a niche Marvel comic general audiences had no knowledge of, which counted among its team a talking raccoon and a sentient tree monster in the wrong hands. This could have been an absolute bust, an unwieldy mess, which felt out of sorts with the rest of the MCU, and consequently failed to connect with audiences. Had it bombed at the box office, would anyone have really been surprised? But Kevin Feige was smart to hire Gunn for the job, who was able to translate the comic book to the cinematic medium with wit, panache, and most of all heart. Guardians ended up netting almost $800 million globally, making it the 3rd highest grossing MCU film at the time, behind only The Avengers and Iron Man 3. An impressive feat for a film so many were readily and understandably betting against. Number 4, a stranded man befriends a farting corpse. Swiss Army Man. Generally speaking, first-time directors are advised to set their sights modestly and tackle a more familiar genre film before venturing into more ambitious territory on their sophomore feature. But in their debut Swiss Army Man, filmmakers Daniel Schneider and Daniel Kwan decided to take a gigantic swing by making a movie about a man stranded on a desert island. So far, so good, who befriends a flatulent corpse, which washes up on the shore. The potential for disaster speaks for itself here, but shyness and Kwan have such a firm handle on their movie's tone, and Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe commit so fervently to their roles that the film is able to wring unexpected profundity from a superficially crude premise, and without its success, the Daniels almost certainly wouldn't have gone on to give the world the most recent Best Picture Oscar winner, Everything Everywhere All at Once, another borderline miracle of a movie that could have gone totally awry in different hands. So no matter what the Daniels make in the future, they've certainly got the benefit of the doubt at this point. Number 3, a father disguises himself as a female housekeeper to get closer to his kid's Mrs. Doubtfire. Imagine trying to pitch Mrs. Doubtfire today. It would be laughed out of every office in Hollywood in record time. A film where a man dresses up as a female housekeeper in order to have greater contact with his children following his divorce sounds awful when you speak it aloud, suggesting a cookie comedy where Robin Williams dons a fat suit and frolics around for lowest common denominator laughs. But it's a testament to director Chris Columbus that, while an inherent funny concept, Mrs. Doubtfire is actually an unexpectedly thoughtful, even mature dramedy about the pain of divorce. And those who always suffer the most, the kids. Underneath its fundamentally ridiculous premise is a film that has something to say and commits fully to its emotional ideas, rather than merely serving up a predictably syrupy, happy ending. It helps that Robin Williams is excellent in the lead role, of course, and while not every aspect of Mrs. Doubtfire has aged superbly, it remains a tremendously popular film that transcends its potentially disastrous premise. Number 2, a time travel comedy about a man attempting to prevent incest. Back to the Future. Back to the Future may be one of the most beloved movies of all time. But just think about how insane and even problematic this must have sounded to Universal executives when it was first pitched. A time travel comedy where a high schooler heads back to 1955, accidentally gets his teenage mother hot for him, and spends the rest of the movie trying to negate her unknowingly incestual feelings in order to ensure he isn't wiped out of existence. Yep, that's the highest grossing movie of 1985. There's obviously far more to the movie than that, but at its core that's what it's about, and so it's a little surprise that the script was rejected more than 40 times before finally getting the green light. Thanks to the witty, creative script, excellent performances and fantastic direction, Back to the Future triumphed, serving up a cheeky what-if for audiences without excessively luxuriating in the icky elements of its narrative. Number 1. Astronauts try to restart the dying sun with a nuke. Sunshine. From its log line alone, SCI-5 film Sunshine was basically inviting laughter. A group of astronauts take part in a dangerous mission to reignite the dying sun with a nuke the size of Manhattan, without any other information. This sounds like it sits comfortably alongside The Core, or any number of Roland Emmerich directed disaster flicks, which are high on digital spectacle, but desperately low on brains. Yet Sunshine is not that movie at all. Directed with taut style by Danny Boyle from Intense. For the most part, Sunshine keeps its wild concept